Hey guys, what's up? Decline here. Today we are talking about a-bas-le-ciel. He is a YouTuber and he has made 3 videos on me, I believe, as well as tagging me in some videos also. So I'm making a response and just going over some of the things. His first video was some clips of me with some video game or chiptunes kind of boss music, like evil kind of sounding music, followed by a news report about the I word, and it mentioned an event involving the loss of life. I think that was a really cheap shot and a low blow. Like, I'm not associated with that stuff. At that time, I just wrote him off as a troll, like, there wasn't really any substance to reply to there. But he made some more extensive videos. And so apparently I am evil. He says what I want to achieve and my reasons for achieving it, the whole concept of self-improvement. What I am trying to do is evil. And he says that I'm a bad person. Look, in this scene, I've heard it before. I'm not sure if I've heard it directly aimed at me, but I've heard people talking generally about guys like me that can't get laid as evil or bad people. And there's this idea if you can't get laid, it's because you're a bad person. It's because you're not a nice person. You're an evil person. And so although it is new for someone to outright come and make a video about me calling me evil, it's not a new concept. Look, I've always been at the bottom of society even before I was dealing with the troubles of not getting laid, and in other aspects of my life too. Like, I kind of accept at this point that I'm going to be seen as an evil person or a bad person just because of my position in society. Like, I grew up on welfare, so I know, like, how they perceive poor people and people on welfare, and I'm unemployed myself. And in that situation, you see the way people treat the unemployed. They say, oh, it's about your mentality. And then what they do is, instead of like helping people objectively increase their value to employers by like helping them get experience or helping them increase their skills, like, you're forced into these programs that are supposed to kind of correct your mentality, like work for the dole, where you have to do unpaid labor for so-called charities and non-profits. And it doesn't actually help you get a job because it's just punishment, and you're being told that your mentality is wrong and you need to have your work ethic instilled in you and all that sort of thing. But it's not about the objective reality of what employers actually want. And that's why those programs don't actually get people into jobs, and they don't improve people's mentality either. They just break people down. And I feel it's something similar here, like, in terms of guys who can't get laid. Like, it's not about what women actually want. How can we actually become desirable? There's all this roundabout stuff. Oh, you need to increase your appeal by not trying to increase your appeal directly to women, and none of it's really stuff that you can implement. And like, I'm focused on outcomes, and these roundabout things, they're not. So for me, it's just like how they treat the unemployed people. Like, it's not focused on like actual outcomes. None of this is gonna get people into relationships. But back to what I was saying before, like, I accept that because I'm in this position in society, people are just going to see me as bad or evil. Like, but, like, what am I gonna do? Some people are just like that. There's nothing I can really do to satisfy these people. Like, oh, okay then. Like, I think I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. Like, if I try to improve, I'm doing it for the wrong reasons, and it's not gonna work, and all that, and I'm a bad person for wanting to improve myself. And if I just wanna, like, not, if I just, like, how about I give up instead? Like, oh, that's bad too. Like, I'm a bad person for playing video games and watching anime, apparently, according to a-bas-le-ciel. And, like, why am I seen as evil for just wanting a better life, to improve myself, to have what everyone else has? Like, that's wrong. Am I just supposed to stay in my lane? And why am I evil for wanting to improve? Like, why aren't these chads also evil then, if they have for being attractive? And I feel like what they're saying is that I have to stay in my lane because I'm an unattractive person, that life just isn't for me, and I'd be wrong to try and go for it, to go for a life of ascension. Like, I have to take the correct route, which is improve yourself as a person. Some bullshit that's never gonna work. It doesn't make sense at all. Why aren't all these other people who are, like, promiscuous and improve their looks and are good looking, like, why aren't all these people evil? Like, if I'm evil for wanting to be promiscuous, for wanting to be better looking, like, because I'm not allowed to have what they have, I'm not allowed to have. It doesn't make any sense. As for vengeance, well, you could call it justice instead. That's the same thing, vengeance, justice. It is an injustice that there is inequality in the dating market, and I am missing out on the fundamental human experiences, and I've missed out on so much, and it's not right. So, yeah, I am seeking justice, and that's how it's going to be. Like, from my perspective, yes, I am the protagonist, I am the good person, because I know that I am a good person, and you're not going to convince me that I'm evil or that I'm a bad person. Like, I'm so used to this way that people perceive people at the bottom. Like, I see right through it, and you're just not going to convince me of that. Also, I don't think women actually care that much. a-bas-le-ciel claims that women want good men, and they want ethical men of good character. No. It's pretty obvious women go for men who are blatantly evil or unethical or have questionable morals. And, like, it doesn't matter what kind of scumbags they are, as long as they're attractive or charismatic. Like, why is there domestic violence? Why is there infidelity? Why do women get scammed by people who take their money? And women go for those chads and people like criminals and players who, like, women go for guys who screw them over often. Now, I'm not trying to present myself as some nice guy or something. Don't try to pin that quote, nice guy quote kind of thing on me. But, like, I don't think someone's moral compass matters at all to women. What they want is someone who has the looks, who has the charisma, and I think he mentions the vibe. Women getting a vibe whether this man is safe, whether this man is okay to let into my house or whatever. But look, like I just mentioned, why do all these things happen? Because why do all these bad things happen? Women choose guys where there are bad outcomes because these things like vibe, they are not things that indicate good character. They they often result in women choosing guys who aren't good for them. Because, look, that's what they want. And, like, those characteristics, like being able to make a woman feel comfortable, having the non-verbal and verbal cues, giving off the right signals, like, those things are just indicative of someone who has social skills and someone who has the right skills. And it's not, it doesn't say anything about ethics. It doesn't, that's the thing. Unfortunately, like, yeah, I am probably not going to give off the right signals. And, like, I am an awkward person, and some women probably aren't going to like that, but who knows? But actually, on the one time I did go out on a date, I think the girl was impressed with how I presented myself in real life, and we did actually vibe. I don't think any of that is indicative of ethics or morals. He mentions me being into anime and video games. Apparently I'm addicted to video games. I hardly play video games anymore. Like, I played a little bit of Infinite Warfare like a few days ago because I was finishing it off because it had sat on my computer for like years, like half finished, and because that's how little I play games these days. Like, I used to be big into gaming, but I don't that much anymore. And I hardly watch anime anymore. It's been a long time, and like, I wish I was more into those pastimes like I used to be. I'd like to get back into gaming and anime and stuff, because I don't think those interests are something that pushes women away. I think women are into those things too, and like, I don't have to have a woman who's into the same things that I'm into, but if they are, then it helps that we have common interests, and I don't think they're even seen as undesirable interests. Back when I was streaming for like maybe a week on Twitch last year, I noticed that girls actually watched my stream, like, not the whole thing, but they dropped in and said hi, and like, a number of my female viewers watched my streams because, yeah, girls actually like that stuff. And honestly, like, I discontinued streaming because I just didn't think it was a good use of my time, and it was a bit impractical to get quiet time at home when I could stream. But I think it showed that women do share those interests, and rather than having something against gaming or things like that, if I was more of a gamer, like, honestly, like women do find that stuff interesting. Just like there are a lot of women who like anime. Like, one woman I was talking to last month, she was into Siscon anime, and I was into that stuff too, and that was a really niche kind of thing that we were both into, and she had seen some show that was pretty rare, and it's like, wow, we have stuff in common. Like, just like there are a lot of girls who are into K-pop. In fact, there are more girls than guys into K-pop, and a lot of girls into Vocaloid music. Like, I think the whole fandom of Vocaloid was like teenage girls and like a few older guys. Like, there's nothing wrong with gaming, you know. I have to get back into streaming so that girls can, come to think of it, I might actually get back into streaming one day. Like, yeah, I think it's important for me to be like interesting, and like, the problem is I really don't do much these days other than go to the gym and YouTube, and I don't even upload that much on YouTube, and just rant about girls on YouTube and loneliness, and I waste time watching stuff on YouTube and listening to music, listening to quite a lot of time listening to music. and just wasting time and not doing anything in particular. And I think I did become very boring and not really have much to talk about. And I don't think that's because of nerdy interests. I think that's just because I hardly have interests anymore. I just became boring. Like, I mean, hardly I hardly do anything anymore, you know. As for my life goals after all this stuff, look, I have other interests. Like, I'm not just going to sit around and watch anime and play video games. Like, I am also interested in public transport and urban planning policy and politics, and I've thought about, like I mentioned in that video, the gym vlog that that a-bas-le-ciel referred to, I mentioned in that video that Sargon of Akkad was an interesting guy because he went into politics. Well, he attempted to go into politics by using his YouTube fame. Of course, it didn't work for him, but like that's a potential direction I could go in if I become successful in this field in terms of YouTube. Like, I would like to try and get into politics one day, and like that's something I could try and work on. Or there are creative endeavors that I'm interested in, like learning music production. And in terms of goals relating to this scene, well, I guess my dream would be to change the sexual marketplace significantly and bring about change on the level of, say, the introduction of Tinder, or even on the level of the sexual revolution of the 1960s. Like, widespread change, bring about the collapse of the entire Western sexual marketplace. Like, I do have big dreams, I do have goals in life. Of course, I'm not going to achieve any of that, but, like, yeah, there is more to the future than just sitting around and watching anime and playing video games. And, like, even that would be fine too. I don't think there'd be anything wrong with just being a gamer. Like, what's wrong with that? As for my history and how women perceive it, like the paid encounters, I am actually up to triple digits there. I think 113 or 114. So yeah, it's definitely a lot more than 88 different girls. Yeah, 113 different girls. Lately I've learnt that women probably have lied about their own past and misrepresented their past and their present too, in terms of their history. So it's like, why would they be entitled to know about my history? Why would I have to be honest about my history when they're not honest about their history? Like, I am just going to keep my history private. If there are girls who I am meeting outside of YouTube, like say on Tinder, or say I meet them in the real world somehow, if they're not coming from this public platform of YouTube where I've told everyone all of my personal history, like, I'm just not going to tell them stuff, because like that's how women treat me. That's how women are, so I'm going to do the same. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just not going to tell them about my triple digit body count, or that I've paid that I go to the shop, or anything like that. And I'm not going to tell them about any of that stuff. I'll just hide it. As for the women on YouTube who do know my history, well, look at people like Hiding in My Room. He is still able to get laid with some of his fangirls and stuff, even though they know that he has a triple digit body count. He has paid for encounters. He has talked about a lot of stuff, like I'm pretty sure he cheated on his girls in the past and stuff. But the point is, he has a history, he has a past, but there was a 600-page thread on the website Pretty Ugly Little Liar about him, because he was a person of interest. And like, even though technically you might say they just saw him as like a drama whore or something, like just a log cow, actually a lot of girls probably were interested in him and probably still are. I mean, he obviously gets laid on and off of YouTube. But my life is just going to be like that. There'll be girls outside of YouTube who don't know anything, and girls on YouTube who know things, and hopefully I'll be successful enough and attractive enough that they'll still be interested in me despite knowing what they know. Anyway, look, I can't change my past. I can't go back on anything I've done, like whatever I've done, I've done. And I don't think there's anything wrong that I did. I did what I had to do to get by. I did what I had to do to not end up jumping off a bridge. So I'm not gonna apologize for anything that I've done. What else? Well, I've actually already ran into issues like girl not wanting to go raw with me because of my history and the paid encounters and stuff, and that led to a failed experience, a failed encounter. And like, that was because of the stuff I talked about on my YouTube, because she was a viewer. But the problem is, like, yeah, so I actually know that YouTube causes problems, and I'll have to accept those losses, unfortunately, and I'll have to deal with those situations better in future. And yeah, there are situations where girls might not be interested in me because of something they saw that was a red flag, or because of something I can't have a positive experience with them. Well, that's too bad then, I guess. All I can really do is get tested every 6 to 12 months like a normal person, and if I'm going overseas to meet someone, I'd get tested before meeting them. But if I run into issues like that, then too bad, I guess. I have to accept the losses. More on that, the vibe thing. I'm never gonna be like that person that women can talk to easily or be comfortable with. Like, okay, maybe some women kind of vibe with me in some way that I've talked to, but I'm not going to ever be a natural with that stuff. And I'm probably not normal in some way. Like, there is probably a reason my social skills aren't fully developed, and I might give off the wrong vibe and the wrong non-verbal cues. And that's just how it is, unfortunately. I'm not going to appeal in that way, so I'm just going to have to focus on other stuff. He mentioned middle class, tertiary educated white women as a demographic. Well, I'm never going to be middle class. I don't think I could ever pass as middle class, although I never fit into the working class or lower middle class society of the local area either. Like, I'm always going to be the outsider, that guy who grew up on welfare, and as soon as I open my mouth, it can be seen from my teeth, unless I spend thousands on veneers. Like, I'm never gonna have that mass appeal. And I think the issue is I can't compensate for my lack of looks with, like, trying to appeal in all these different factors. Like, trying to win over girls with my personality. I'm never going to appeal like that. And I don't think it's reasonable or viable, because I'm going to have to do even better than someone with average looks in those fields if I'm trying to compensate for my looks. And, like, it's ridiculous. Like, I'm just going to focus on looks because that's what I can actually improve. Muscle mass can be gained, and women do perceive those guys with muscles as more attractive, and it has never been reasonably proven otherwise. Like, there is no proof that muscular guys can't get laid. Women are heavily focused on looks, that's just how it is, and muscles are one of the few ways that you can actually improve, that anyone can improve. I can't change my height. I can't change a lot of things. Like, I'm always going to be who I am, and I can't really change that. So I'm going to work on what I can change, and hopefully women will find me attractive. And, like, all I can do is be the proof. People will say it won't work, you still won't get laid, you still won't get over the line, or even if you do get over the line, you'll still end up not being able to keep these women. That's what he said. If I am charismatic enough and whatever, and desirable enough, attractive enough, I'll still be unable to keep these women and have relationships with them. And it's like, look, I'm going to be an emotional train wreck anyway, and I'm focusing on hookups anyway, because, like, that's what I want to focus on, because I'm just getting my heart torn up by, like, getting emotionally invested in people for no good reason. Like, obviously, if someone was interested in me, well, I'd take up the opportunity, but, like, if I was into them, but I'm not going to be going out and trying to look for long-term relationships specifically. I want to have my fun and have casual stuff, and, like, assuming that I become attractive enough to actually get hookups and stuff. I think the likely ways that I fail are I screw up my aesthetics by getting too bloated, or losing all my hair, or aging my face too much, or ruining my proportions or something. Or I don't get there and I don't build up enough muscle. That's the most likely outcome, that I just don't get there and I don't build up enough muscle. Like, I don't think that if I do actually build the muscle and keep my hair and my face and stuff reasonably intact, I don't think that I am going to have trouble. Like, I think I will be able to get laid, unquestionably, and I am more optimistic than anyone about this, but I'm gonna try, and I'm gonna be the proof. That's all I can do. I'm going to be the one who proves that you can ascend, that looks maxing is real, and it's not just the 6-foot guys who are always going to get laid, who can go to the gym and looks max. It's like, it's possible for anybody to make the best of what they have and get up to a point where they can get laid. Almost anybody. And I'm just gonna try, Who cares if I'm seen as evil? I don't think most girls will see me like that. Some girls actually like me as a person, but they're not attracted to me enough to actually want to bang me. I'm not going to concern myself with these people who perceive me as evil. Like, I'm going to become desirable. I'm going to have a value proposition for these women, and hopefully it's good enough that they're willing to hook up with me. Okay, here's a guy who's decently good looking, he's got a good body, and I want him to fill me up, and that's what I want them to be like. Like, I'm going to give them a reason to desire me if I have the looks, that they'll actually want me, and they'll want to have me and hook up with me, and all I can do is try in the end. I found these videos very difficult to respond to. I thought about it for a while, and this is very much rambling for a very long time, but I don't even know, like, there was so much to cover. I just want to put something out, and I'm gonna keep going. Like, even if people don't think this will work, I'll keep going, and hopefully in 2 years or 3 years, I can be attractive enough to get laid. Like, I'd like to hope it would happen sooner. Like, obviously, if there's any girls out there, maybe I'll be attractive enough in a year or something, but all I can do is try. That's all. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you next time.